What exact purposes of education in America require such an excess of time and money to achieve? And I'm glad you asked that question because I'm going to answer it. Mass schooling of a compulsory nature has been a dream of philosophers and utopians at least since Plato, and not a single one of these men, and they were all men, cared a fig about reading, writing, or arithmetic. The reason they wanted to take hold of the children out of sight of their parents, out of sight of the living world, was in order to modify their minds, their behaviors, their attitudes, and their outlooks. Mass schooling of a compulsory nature was not installed successfully anywhere until Prussia in the Germanies pulled off the trick between 1806 and 1819. That was a triumph, followed next by the United States in supposedly liberal Massachusetts in 1852, then by the District of Columbia inside the Beltway in 1865, 13 years later. So this was a hard sell wherever it was offered. The final holdout in this corner of the world was Mississippi, which broke in 1918. School attendance laws were always a joke until suddenly between 1905 and 1930, the police and the courts became actively engaged in their enforcement. The reasons publicly used to justify this enormous upheaval in family life and cultural traditions were threefold and very, very traditional. We were told that this forced schooling would make people better, would make them better citizens, and would make each person his or her own personal best. That was the public story given out. But privately, the founders of institutional schooling sang a different tune to one another. Daniel Webb supported public school on the grounds that they would serve as a pollutant. Edwards called on the capitalists of his state to support compulsion laws and contribute money, quote, to give security to your own property. The National Teachers Association, which was the forerunner of the NEA, praised Horace Mann's fifth report to the Boston School Committee as having, quote, probably done more than all others to convince capitalists that school is to their direct material advantage. Horace Mann advocated universal education, quoting again, as the best insurance against mobocracy. In spite of the overwhelming public love affair with schooling that we find in contemporary America, our national literature holds numerous and surprisingly consistent statements of compulsory schooling's true purposes. For example, the famous H.L. Mencken wrote in the American Mercury for April 1924 that the aim of public education, this will be a long quote, is not to fill the young with knowledge and awaken their intelligence. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The aim is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same safe level, to breed and train a standardized citizenry, to put down dissent and originality. That is the aim, said Mencken, in the United States, and that is its aim elsewhere.